make a song. I had to make a song about her and to let everybody know that in the Black community, everybody grandma named Tyler Perry, big and hairy, dignitary, Jesus Mary, she prepared me.
I'll be honest, when I listened to that track and the levels of how you explored your grandma, I just was like, man, this is the energy that's missing. We don't have enough grandmas giving that divine love that you're speaking of. And that's why I wanted to get your perspective on it. Because you
Yeah,
live in Chicago.
yeah, and grandmas, and I ain't gonna even trip on young grandmas. My grandmother had my mother when she was like 17, 18. My mother had me when she was like 16, 17. Uh, however, I don't think age has anything to do with love and wisdom. You know, I do believe though that my grandfather being by her side and them going through things and me seeing the strength of my grandmother enduring with my grandfather. My grandfather was in the Vietnam War. He came back and would have flashbacks and he'd be running up the block with the gun and like it was all type of things when my grandfather didn't take his medicine. And for my grandmother to endure with him and never leave him, that meant something to how I view relationships and how I'm not giving up on marriage and how I'm not giving up on love and what I think a strong woman is. And what I think a strong woman is even in my worst, for my wife to be like, I ain't going nowhere, that remind me of my grandmama, and now I could give you my best. And I get it. Everybody's not going to agree with that. Some people are going to say, you know, at your worst, I should not have to, and that's the point of James and Nikki, right? At your worst, I shouldn't have to endure that. I shouldn't have to. We human beings. If human beings are to come together and make a family and build a village, we all gonna have to endure something. We all gonna have to suffer one another at some point of time. But if there's really love and if there's really maturity, that endurance will turn into a thing that our children can pivot from. And that's what we here for. We're not just here for ourselves to be happy in the moment or be happy for the rest of our lives. We're here for our children and them to be there for their children and to build stronger and stronger generations. And so, I pray that in listening to this, and when people listen to James and Nikki, that they can take something to endure and pivot from. Because I think Nikki Giovanni speaks about it very clearly on this project where she says, if you off with Maddie or somebody else, you're lying to me.
She said that. She did. And she said, but if you can lie to them,
Lie to
lie to
me.
me. Lie to me. That's a bar.
That's a bar, whether you agree or you don't agree. You know,
Man.
what do you really want out of this life? What do you want for your family? Hey man, it's crazy. A lot of my homies always be talking about, do you be hearing about a lot of men be talking about legacy and the legacies we want to leave and
Oh yeah.
generational wealth? And I want to leave my kids generational wealth. Lately I've been thinking that's all a bunch of bullshit, bro. It's crap. Because a lot of my homies, man, been dying in their 30s and 40s, accidents. I had a homie die last year, Twan Gabs, died of cancer. And nobody ever really gets to the generational wealth they say they want to leave their family. I've
Never.
never seen it.
Never.
I mean, Kanye, but that's an abnormality. I've never seen nobody leave the generational wealth that they kill themselves working for. You kill yourself to leave something that you never make because you killed yourself trying to get it.
And
So,
you
what is generational wealth? The only thing I can come up with is information. If you're not leaving real information, if you're not trying to get information, Frederick Douglass said, you can never enslave an educated man. So if you're not leaving your children something that prevents enslavement, and it ain't money because money can be taken, or it ain't a house. It's really selfishness. The way we talk about generational wealth is stuff we want and we put it on our future children as an excuse.
Oh man, they're gonna be at you about that one. That's the
I'm going to say
truth.
it all the time now. It's stuff we want that we put on our kids' heads as an excuse to be selfish today. Information is the only generational wealth you can leave. The most expensive land in the world is the graveyard because of all the information that went down with people. That's the most valuable real estate in the world is the graveyard because of all of the secrets that are there. Die empty.
That's another bar right there. Die empty.
Die empty.
Mr. Smith, let me ask you this. I listened to I want to say it was track 4, and you talked about just the challenges of fame. You talked about the health challenges, how you beat the streets, but couldn't beat the sweets. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That stuck with
You
me.
let the sweets get you.
I said, man,
You
not the
survived
sweets.
Chicago and let the sweets get you. Yeah. That's what it is, bro. Like that song, it ain't even a song. I call it a piece. That piece, what's in it for me is the future me debating the present me about what I'm doing presently. And so it's like, why are you smoking weed all day and playing PlayStation? Don't you know what that's about to, bro, look at me. Why'd you do that yesterday? Look at me today. And today I'm like, bro, that's you then, bro. What's in it for me now? I'm happy right now, And so, but Freddie Old Soul, which is the woman on the track, the way she came with it, and she's one of my favorite Chicago artists, one of my favorite artists, period, right now. And she said, man, Netflix and chilling. I got 3 babies. Like, I ain't saying that you failed, but you got a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a, and so like, the way she came at it with just her pregnancies, her career, and not being able to, and her fear of not being able to leave the city and being an OG legend that never got out. Like, that hit me in the heart too. And I think that these are things that we go through every day, bro, in terms of a lot of times we project the battle like it's an outside battle we're having with the world. Man, it's an inside battle. The biggest enemy we got, it ain't the government. It ain't the government. It ain't, it ain't ComEd. It ain't the biggest battle ain't at work. You buying a whole bunch of guns, you ain't gonna never use them. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't about to never do none of that, bro, because the biggest battle that you dealing with is the demon that will never leave. And that's man, you ain't who you thought you was, you who you taught you was. And until we can reprogram some of that who we taught we was, that's what it is, bro. That's all it is. And that's what that track is about.
I heard that statement you made, and you did a no cap interview, I believe, and you mentioned that concept of you not who you thought you were, but who you taught you were, and man, that's just insightful how you've been able to like destroy your ego as someone who's been to the mountaintop.
Have I? What maybe what's the mountaintop? What do you perceive as a mountaintop?
Well, my perception of the mountaintop and what other people perceive is different. But by conventional standards, you've achieved monetary success, you've gotten prestige, your name is etched in history. But I look at success, I think in a way you would say is just happiness, peace, understanding that these are not constant states of minds, but decisions.
Ooh, that's deep. Hey, you a deep dude, bro. Like your
Hey man,
mind is crazy, bro.
I had to pull out
Hey,
the I had to pull it out. I was like, man, I've been envisioning this moment since I heard blue collar, man. Like,
man,
you know
that's
what I'm saying?
deep, bro. Yeah, I guess I do feel successful. And I do feel comfortable in my peace. And that's why I feel successful. I am content with, I'm content with what I have. I'm not on crazy adventures to acquire, I'm not on crazy adventures to go deeper into my desire, to go deeper into my cravings. That's a never-ending hole. You know, my first motorcycle I ever had, I loved it until I realized there was a faster one. And then I got the faster one. And then I was like, but it ain't as big and tricked out as the Honda Valkyrie. And I did whatever it took to get the Honda Valkyrie. And then I crashed it. And I was like, man, now I need a gold wing. And then I got the gold wing, but now I want the it's a never-ending hole. Your desires will never stop. And if you don't manage your desires, you will destroy yourself and keep multiplying your misery with responsibility that you can't handle. You got it. All you wanted was a house. You got the house. Man, now I need a 3-bedroom house. Then you get the 3-bedroom house. Now I need a bigger house. You know, man, but my house ain't in the neighborhood like his house. I'm finally at peace with everything that I'm blessed with. And I guess that is success. I feel very wealthy. I feel very wealthy. I have good family. I got a wonderful wife. I have a great brother that cooks for me every night from Africa and gives me African values. I have a lot of children and adopted children. I have even the students I met at the University of Chicago. We've developed relationships where these young people teach me things I couldn't have ever imagined. I'm very wealthy and happy, you know?
Man,
I'm enjoying this project.
I'm enjoying it too. I've written down bars that stuck with me, so I'm gonna throw some at you. So just
All right.
bear with me. Imagine leaning on the truth, but it always bends.
Mm. Don't it though? Like, you know, have you ever you know why the truth bends? The truth always bends because we're constantly changing. Who you were last month, you ain't the same man today. Who you were 3 years ago, your family might not trust you because of something that they saw you fall 3 years ago. But the strength that you got today, that you've been able to build, you ain't the same man that your uncle might think you are because of what he thought 3 years ago, and it cemented or fermented in his mind. But today you a different man. The truth is ever bending. And so sometimes we try to stand on truth like truth is something that doesn't evolve. Truth evolves. Think about this. If Jesus Christ himself or Muhammad, peace be upon him, came right now, everybody would be trying to talk to them about the Bible and the Quran like they knew it better than they did. And they
Man, you're
be
not
like,
lying.
yeah, I guess the truth is bending.
You're right. You're not lying. There'd be so many interpretations, and this is what you probably really meant when you said it. Like, how you gonna tell?
And they would be so mad. Guess what they would do? They would kill Jesus again.
Yeah, they would, and put it on social media.
Try leaning on the truth when it always bends. That's how it is, and it's always been.
So how do because you mentioned on that same track, you mentioned the difficulty of confronting a friend with a God complex. How do you maneuver that space as you've known someone 20 plus years and you've seen them go from obscurity to now struggling with their humanity and almost at times playing with the idea that they may be a God? Like how do you deal with that as a friend?
That's nobody's problem is my problem. Nobody's problem is my problem. And I'm not saying even if someone has a God complex to have anything, you know, to me, when I'm around my friends, it seems like other people project it onto them more than themselves. Like, so a lot of times we love blaming the person, but we don't look at our own perspective and see that we made that person that in our mind. And so to realize that, you know, try telling Malcolm X bow ties ain't in. Try to tell Mandela not to go to the pen. These people are just being themselves. We made them gods. You know how they say God made man in his image? No, man made God in our image, and we get mad when God don't do what we pray he do. God don't follow our instruction, then we get mad because we think God made us in his image. We made God in our image. Ain't no way God is what a lot of people project him to be. It to be.
Yeah, I like how you
And
said
us to
it.
even say him is making God in our image.
They're gonna be mad at you for that one too, but I hear you.
There it is. Like and think about how I know if I pray, God gonna give me, and when you come against me, I'm a person of God, and God's gonna deal with you. Come on, man, stop. God don't work like that.
He ain't a hit man for hire, man.
God is not your hitman. And God will make you wait forever. Sometimes, hey man, people got to deal with the idea that sometimes there is no earthly justice. Now what? Now what you gonna do? Y'all, you want to believe in justice. I've just came from Cambodia. I just got back from Cambodia where they took me on a tour through a place called the Killing Fields. You ever heard of this?
I've heard of the Killing Fields, but never been.
The Killing Fields in 1975 through 1979, where they had over 200 parks in this country where they would have killing parties every night and turn the music up so loud so you couldn't hear the screams and throw babies against trees and cut babies out of bellies and drink alcohol. And if you got tired of killing, or if you, as a young person, if you refused to kill anymore, then you would be killed. And that happened every night for years and years and years. And it was a killing party in the park every night. And the person who orchestrated it, Pol Pot, was never really brought to justice. And so, these people are dealing with, to this day, broken identity. These people are dealing with the French colonizing them, and Vietnam stealing from them, and Taiwan stealing from them, and China owning them. And who are we and what side are we on? But they come from a great history of great temples and great Buddhism and great Hinduism. However, 4 million of them were murdered in a short span of time, and there was no justice. There still is no justice for many Cambodians. And I think to myself, wow, Black Americans are very prosperous people if we only gave ourselves the grace to understand how prosperous we are. Or everywhere I go in this world, somebody will look at me and say, you know how fortunate you are to be an American. And I can't even argue with them about Black grievances because they say to me, hey, you could come here, we can't go there. And I realize the freedom of a passport. What are you talking about, bro? I'm free. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my passport hit 187 countries, bro. What did you talk about? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got opportunities, and it don't even cost much. It don't cost nothing to go to Canada. It don't cost nothing, man. You could drive 6 hours away and any direction and be in a totally different state, no matter where you are in America. You free. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
I realize that, like, this idea of justice is only the justice we give ourselves. It's only the justice you take. Like Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jackson told me, it's only the power you take. That's the only justice that exists. There is no outer justice. There is no godly justice coming to bring justice upon, man. Go ahead, bro. Like, you're gonna be waiting. If you don't go take justice for yourself and be just to yourself, you're going to be waiting for justice all your life.
Wow. Okay. Another quote for you then that ties into it. People ain't the problem, power is.
Power is. Woo! People ain't the problem. Power is. You know, at the root of it. Right now, I'm speaking to you from in Wyoming, in Cody, Wyoming. This is a town of 10,000 people. Not many people that look like you and I here. Like, and I don't have a problem with nobody. I don't have a problem with nobody. I don't have a problem with the Mormons that I'm friends with. I don't have a problem with the Amish here that I'm friends with. I don't have a problem with the Trumpers here that I'm friends with. I don't even know if that's appropriate or whatever. But what I've been finding is that the people ain't the problem. It's only when they start talking to me about the news. That's when the problems start. It's only when they start asking me questions like, what's wrong with Chicago? And I say, where you get that perception that something was wrong with Chicago? All media? People ain't the problem. Power is. The power turns us against one another. The power tells us stories about each other that's not the whole truth. The power um, feeds itself on our destruction and dissension. You know, when we come together, when we compare notes, we find so many similarities.
Right.
When we look at ourselves through the lens of the power, we're at odds with each other. It's a civil war. America is rotting not because of the people. America is rotting because of the power.
Man, write that down, put that on a shirt. Man,
That's it, bro.
a teacher that isn't free to teach.
It's not a teacher.
You got a long career working in schools from the beginning to from the bottom to the top, so to speak. What are your thoughts on that concept?
When James Baldwin said a teacher who is not free to teach is not a teacher, my perception of that is if you don't feel like you're free to teach, you don't have enough imagination. Because teaching is not just the curriculum and syllabus you were given, teaching is how you get it across. Do you get it? I remember Dr. Cornell West told me, he said, man, if I had to get in a tutu and do a ballet dance in order to get the point across to my people, I would do whatever it takes. I would rap, I would sing, I would do whatever it takes to get information across to my people. And I had a teacher that, I wasn't good with math in the third grade. I wasn't good at five times one is five, five times two. And she said, let's do a song. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And she did all the multiplication numbers in a song, and that's how I learned my multiplication. When I was in school, you had to pass a constitution test to get out of the 8th grade. I failed it twice, rewrote it all into a rap, and then didn't get one question wrong and got investigated for cheating on the third time because we don't realize that there are various styles of learning. There's experiential, where you got to touch it, feel it, experiment it. There's auditory. Everybody is not memorize, read, memorize, repeat, read, memorize, repeat, especially Black kids who learn from a griot style of learning that includes instruments and poetry and all of this stuff. You see stuff on the internet that tries to pit us against each other, that it'll have like, look at kids in China. Now look at these Black kids learning and they're singing and dancing. Boy, that's how Black kids learn. Like,
Exactly.
a teacher who can't teach them through that is not a teacher. You have to know the style of learning of your student. That's what makes you a good teacher. You're able to look at your student and teach them from the spirit, not just from the mind. Because everything that we need to know, we really already know. It doesn't need to be put in, it needs to be unlocked.
Needs to be brought out.
Mhm.
Mr. Smith, it's 2024.
We in the future.
Yes.
How do you like the future? What do you think about the future?
Man, that is a loaded question. And I feel like I got to answer this right, but I know you
No,
just
you
asked me
don't.
what I
This
think.
is you. How do you like the future?
I'm hopeful for it, man. I'm hopeful. That's
Are you
that's the best way to
are
describe
you
it.
enjoying the future? What do you how are you in the future? How
How
are
am
you
I
get-
in the future?
how are you getting along in the future?
If I don't learn to adapt, well, I'm a person who's going to adapt. So I like the idea of the future because that's the only other option, adapt or die. So
Hmm.
I'm liking the idea of the future, but at this current moment, I'm in a crossroads where I'm looking at 10 years of being a teacher, and I'm like, what's next? What's the next venture? And one part is like, yeah, yeah.
Hey, stop being a teacher and start being a student of something.
Mm.
Sometimes we want to give information so much, and we gave all the information we could, and it's time to like take the belt off and start learning all over again.
That's how I feel, Mr. Smith. That's how I feel, man. I don't
Yeah,
feel like I got any more of myself to give them because it's just myself that I'm giving and they love it. But I'm like, but I need something else to be able to give y'all something else.
yeah. Go have an adventure.
That's confirmation.
Go have an adventure, bro.
Okay. That's confirmation.
And then come back and watch what happens.
Understood.
Yeah, yeah,
Understood.
yeah. Love.
Mr. Smith, let me ask you, because I want to respect your time. This year will be 20 years since, you know, the role you played in The College Dropout.
Mm.
Yep, I think March, February, March will be 20 years. And then your project comes out in February.
Hmm.
How do you feel looking at 20 years then and now?
You know, I really love the early 2000s, but I'm not nostalgic for it. I really love the late 90s, but I ain't nostalgic for it. It's hard for me to live in the future being caught in the past, uh, stuck in the past. Everything that you do that's great comes with the gift of trauma. And any accomplishment that you make in life is going to come with some trauma. It wouldn't be great if it didn't have trauma attached to it. Even
Mm.
this will have trauma attached to it. But now I have tools in my toolkit for dealing with trauma. I didn't have those tools then, so I hurt myself a lot. I sabotage. Fonte got this line where he say, "My greatest teachers were masters of self sabotage."
Yeah, he killed that verse. He killed that verse.
And so, like, you know, I I'm so happy that I'm so blessed. Forget happy. I'm so blessed that I didn't kill myself through the things I was doing and the ways I was acting and the people I was hurting. Because it's easy to talk about the hurt that I believe was done to me, but the real hurt is what I did to myself and how I passed that hurt around. And that was the real hurt. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life uh, using the tools in my toolkit to show people how to love and how to transcend that type of thing. You know, I think we go through pain so we can show people at least a little bit how not to experience it. You know, one of the things Baldwin says on James and Nikki is it takes a long time to learn a little bit. And so you asking me about 20 years, man. It took me 20 years to learn a little bit, and here we are.
Man, you got so many quotables in here. Golly, it took me 20 years to learn a little bit. Man.
It took me 20 years to learn a little bit. Yeah, bro. That's how I feel about that.
When people go to listen to a conversation, what is your greatest hope? What is it that you hope comes from it?
Engagement, engagement with listening, with maybe putting the phone down and being like, you know what, I can't even do nothing to listen to this because I got to hit the bars. Like I can't even multitask with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I pray that this project is a slight inconvenience in your life.
My wife is listening and she already upset. Like, you gonna be playing this. I'm gonna be playing this in the crib. I'm telling you now, I am playing this in
And
the
we're
crib.
gonna talk about some of this stuff, and she's not gonna agree with Nikki when
Oh, of
Nikki's like,
course.
yeah, go ahead, cheat, just come home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and here a woman is that you want to like saying that. What are you
She in
doing?
the background now, like, just know this is not going down.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I pray that, there's a part in there where they talk about God, where they say, God need us.
He's our only hope. We're his only hope. I had it
God,
written down.
oh, ain't
Yep.
no, ain't no us, ain't no God. You know what I
There
mean?
it is.
Even the guy from GSC, Cap, was like, I don't like that part. Take that part out. I said, you can't take that part out. You take that out, you might as well take out the part you like that somebody else don't like, And so I pray that this is a slight inconvenience to your psyche.
To
It's
say the least.
the only way we're gonna grow.
When can we expect to hear this?
February, dropping Black History Month, Women's
Oh,
History Month. You know what I mean? Perfect time. So James and Nikki dropping in February. We got Brittany Carter, Halix, Armageddon, EP the Hellcat, Saba the Goddess. We got Freddie Old Soul and
she really did.
my girl Tifa. So I'm so blessed that all of these women came and jumped on these tracks and gave their whole spirit to it.
And they did it justice, man. They really gave it the needed texture, brother.
I believe so. Bars. In fact, I had to on this project, I had to make sure I was keeping up with them.
Yeah, they was coming at your neck a couple
They was
times,
coming
brother.
at me, bro. They was
I'm not
coming at
gonna
me,
lie.
bro. But that's what we got to do, right? We got to always put ourselves in positions to challenge ourselves to our highest potential. Just jump in the water. Okay, you can't swim, jump in. You ain't swim in a long time, jump in. It's too cold, jump in.
Jump in.
Yeah, and that's what with James and Nikki, I haven't come out with music in a long time, but I've always been doing music because I do music as therapy. Like me doing music or me doing rapping is personal therapy. So I've never stopped. I just wasn't rapping in public. And so, you know, Black Thought and I got like 7 songs together, and I got songs with like all kind of people that but you know what's funny, man? Like some of my homies, like S1, the producer, my homies would get mad at me and thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't putting music out. And they would look at me like, oh, that's your insecurities or you're this or you're that. And I'm like, what do I owe the world to give them my gift if I don't think my gift is gonna be that don't I'm still doing my gift. There's no appreciation that I'm love the gift and we could do music together
You
but
creating. You don't have to
I'm
share it.
creating,
You don't
you
have to
know,
share it. That's the gift of sharing it. But you don't
but
have to.
you don't have to. But a lot of times the way we think in this industry, if you ain't pimping your gift, you ain't using it.
Man,
I'm so happy that this is a situation the universe has brought forth where I'm not pimping it. Now it's a true gift.
Mr. Smith, I know the project's coming in February. How will people be able to consume it? Is it something where
All
they need to look for
platforms,
hard copies? Oh,
all
platform.
platforms, vinyl me please. We're gonna have special vinyl associated with it. There is a book that's coming along with it where I wrote about the inspirations for each song, and I'm not writing like this song was made like this or this song. It's like, this is what I was going through when this was made. This is what me and the woman on the song were going through, even trying to make this song, how we had to talk about depression and these type of things. Like, so there's everything about this project is made to inspire conversations to grow divine forgiveness within our community, to show divine masculinity doesn't have to be soft. You know, if you look at somebody like Bob Ross or Mr. Rogers, you're looking at real men who were able to use gentleness and subtleness and mild temperament in order to emote powerful messages. That's what this project is going to bring.
And we expect to see this presented in a collegiate format or in a collegiate setting.
Mm, we're going to have some really interesting conversations along the way with some really interesting people, and it's not going to be superficial conversations. And so I think when we talk about academia and how that's presented, I mean, that's one thing. You know, I will be making my rounds through various universities. However, I also have to come from the ivory tower to the three flat, to two flat,
There it
the
is.
bungalow. You know what I'm saying? And so I will be at the community center too. I will be at the Boys and Girls Club too. I will be at the South Shore Cultural Center, at the DuSable Museum. So, you know, we want to make sure we hit all parts of our community with conversations that grow people.
Mr. Smith, to say it's been an honor would be an understatement. You know, as I told you, from listening to you in 2006 to now being able to talk to you, the pleasure has truly been mine. And this is my note to go back to visit Chicago, but I've been trying. But just thank you for this honor, man.
Love. And may I say, you're a very beautiful human being, and it's been a pleasure to communicate with you in such a thorough way. And your mind is sharp, your heart is open. Hey man, you led the conversation talking about your family and going back to your ancestral roots. You listen, you think, you feel, and you're going to go very far. You're going to go very far. And I look forward to hearing from you again about your adventure, what it was, how it impacted you, and where we go next. Thank you for this type of time.
Pleasure was mine. I received that and I needed that. It's just timely. That's all I can say. It was a timely conversation.
You're one of the most beautiful human beings I've met, man. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you, Mr. Smith.
Yes. Love, bro. Peace.
Much love, much love. Ms. Buckley, thank you. Everybody on your side, thank you guys so much for the chance.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. You can reach out to Barry if you have any questions.
I will. And I'm sorry I didn't record that beginning part, but I just got caught up in the conversation.
I got some on my phone I can send you up until
Thank you.
I didn't know if you got it, so I'll send it over to you.
Thank you. We were building in there and it was just going.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt.
I appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Yep. Have a good day.